put them on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
So we are, yeah. All right, so we are live right now. This is Kyle. Welcome to WMMA Fighters, and I have Cade, Klein Bug, Dement on. How you doing, Cade?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good to hear, and glad to get you on. So I
Glad to be
appreciate,
here.
yeah, appreciate you being here. You got a fight December 2nd, right?
December 8th.
Right, yeah. So that's, I mean, believe it or not, that's not that far.
No, it's really not. A little less than 9 weeks.
Right. This year has blown by, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. It has gone very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how many fights have you gotten in this year?
This year, I think 6.
Oh wow, you've been busy.
Yeah, 5 or 6, I want to say. I've had a lot of fights this year.
Yeah, definitely. How are you feeling going into this one? You feeling good?
Oh, yeah. I feel stronger now than I ever have been. Like, I feel like a total different fighter, especially since my last fight. I've really been working on my ground and my wrestling, and it's come a long way. So I'm excited to be able to put my skills out there December 8th.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good matchup. So you say you've been working on your ground and your wrestling. Is that where you feel you had the most room for improvement?
Yeah, I've always been a huge striker. I've always wanted to stand and bang with people, but in the MMA world, it just doesn't work out that way. So you really gotta buckle down and just suck it up and get that wrestling and jiu-jitsu in. And now that I'm like getting pretty good at it, I'm actually enjoying it. So now I do it all the time. And I have great sparring partners. I have great wrestling coaches, and Joel Fagler is like one of my favorite wrestling coaches, and he just won. I think he just won state championship or something.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he won a really big match this past weekend.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge. Yeah, you definitely. I love the fact that you look like you truly enjoy every bit of this.
I do.
So and that I think is awesome. So if you wouldn't mind, just kind of walk us through, what got you to where you are, and where Klein Bug came from.
Okay, well, honestly, I didn't start fighting until I was about 18. I'm 21 now, so it's been a few years, but like growing up, I was around it because my dad was a champion. My great-grandfather was a boxing Golden Glove champion. My uncles were Olympic champions. Boxing was like all my family knew growing up, and that's all I knew growing up. And then my dad became the first kickboxer in our family. And now I'm the first MMA fighter.
Nice.
But growing up, my dad didn't really want me to get into it. Like, I hit mitts and I would train every now and then, but he didn't want me to get hit because I was a female, Well, finally, he realized he wasn't going to be able to stop me when I turned 18. And so, I just fell in love with it, I haven't stopped since. So I just keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, and Klein Bug. My dad, so I was in my mom's belly still, and my dad had a dream that my first words were Calvin Klein. So when I was born, he called me Klein Bug.
Nice.
And it just kind of stuck, I don't really want like a crazy
right
fighter name, like bad kid.
Right.
I like that it's sentimental to me,
That I love that. That's really cool. And what an interesting dream.
Right. Like, okay, Dad, Klein Bug, all right.
Right. Yeah, I love that. But those are the best nicknames. Like you said, it doesn't really have to be some crazy thing. And the fact that it has that backstory, I think that's really cool. And really awesome that you use it. I think that's pretty sweet.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy it. I love the name.
Yeah. I just love. I mean. Ever since we first started interacting, which I appreciate, by the way, it's always been a pleasure talking with you. You have a great, I know doing these interviews is probably like, oh no, it's a waste of time or, kind of cuts into your schedule. But, I really appreciate your time. And so what are some things you like to do when you have downtime? And you probably don't have a lot. And is this what you're doing full time now?
Yes, this is all I do is train. I train 2 to 3 times a day, and there's nothing else I love to do. Like yesterday, or I think it was Friday or Thursday, I had trained really hard in the morning, and then I was like super hungry. And we always gotta like cut weight and stuff, and so I'm like, what could I do to like buy me some time until I can eat again? Go to the gym. So I just went back to the gym because that's all I do. I enjoy being at the gym. I enjoy the environment. I enjoy the people, and that's just all I do. I don't even watch TV really, unless I'm watching fights.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, so that brings up the next question. So I would assume you are a fan of the sport as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So because what I love about it now is how it's gotten to a point where there's tons of promotions, a lot of quality MMA out there. So it's almost like every weekend. Well, it is every weekend, So what are some fighters you have to watch?
Well, first and foremost, my favorite is Andrea KGB, of course. Okay. She's like my sister. She's an up-and-comer in the UFC. She just won her last fight, and she has another one against Jessica Clark, I think her name is, and on December 15th. I can't remember where that is. I think it might be in Las Vegas, maybe? I don't know. But
UFC 231, right?
Yeah, I think so. But she is I idolize her. That is the fighter that I, really look up to. But obviously I'm a little biased because we kind of known each other for a while and our families are really close. But other than that, I really love Holly Holmes. She's one of my favorites. Boy wise, I did love Conor McGregor. Yeah. I still do love him, but those are my main people. I'm kind of picky.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of fighters. I really don't. I don't watch a lot of fighters. I'll watch the UFC fights and stuff, but it takes a minute for me to I have to watch somebody a few times before I'm remember their names and really look up to them and stuff. But
there's tons nowadays.
Yeah,
there's tons. So I thought, hey, I'll cover women's MMA and that'll cut it in half, but there's still tons.
It's getting there.
No,
it's definitely growing. It's definitely growing.
Oh, absolutely. So okay, so that'll be at UFC Fight Night in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Those two will fight. So I guess that that should be between 231 and 232, I think. Okay. All right. Well, we got that cleared up.
Cool.
So these next from now until the end of the year is a lot of great fights. Now, do you know the promotion? I don't remember, what promotion are you fighting with?
Conflict.
MMA.
Okay. Yeah.
Are they on Flow or Fight TV? Do you know?
No, it's Flow Combat. I'm pretty sure they do.
Flow, okay. Yeah, I will get that shared out so people know where to watch it.
Awesome.
So what Conflict would this be your first fight with them?
No, this will be my fifth or fourth.
Okay. Wow.
Fourth, maybe. I think it's my fourth.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Now, stupid question. What weight class are you in?
Well, it's not stupid because I still kind of, go back and forth. I've had fights at 135, 132, but my main weight class is 125. Okay. But I'm trying to get down to 115 to see if I can do it, to see if I'm still strong. This is a time for me to kind of test the waters a little bit.
Right.
But, 125 is my weight class. That'll be what I'm fighting at next.
Yeah, like you said, you're 21 years old.
Yeah,
so you have
my body's still.
Yeah, you. I think experimenting is probably a good idea, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially with all the divisions now that the women have, which is great. So how do you feel the women's divisions have grown and the fan reception towards the whole thing has evolved?
How do I feel about it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's awesome. I mean, you know, it takes a lot for somebody to get in the cage and fight another human being, and for a female to step in the cage with another female, that's just, you know, I mean, in itself is just incredible. So props to any women out there that are getting in the cage fighting, because it takes a strong woman to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And fan wise, I think it's awesome that people are recognizing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's huge, and it's come. It seemed like it blew up, and you know, even like during the Ronda Rousey, during her prime domination years.
That's where it kind of started.
Right. And, you know, love her, hate her, she did a lot for fighters. You know, I'll give that to her all day long.
She definitely put a name for the females.
Absolutely. I mean, headlining pay-per-views, you know, that was unheard of.
Heck yeah.
So one thing I noticed, and so when it started becoming very popular, I noticed the female fighters were more specialized, I think. So you had a grappler and a striker, and it seemed like that was always the matchup. You know, it was now I think the skill set has not only caught up, but I think it's surpassed the men. I think, just from observation. You know, I think that the females are more like, we need to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean,
in this sport period, you need to be well-rounded, no matter,
right.
You know, if you're a boy or a girl, like, you need to have that wrestling, you need to have that jiu-jitsu, and you need to have that striking, you know, because if you get in the cage with somebody that's willing to do whatever, then they're just going to find your weakest spot and just, you know, take advantage of that. So I think it's very important to be well-rounded in general for any fighter.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where I think the surpassing has come from, because I think the women fighters have realized that, and they've all kind of done it, you know, as a whole. So seeing from a fan's, I love to hear a fighter's perspective, but from a fan's perspective, it is exploded in a very positive way. So I think 2019 will be a huge year. Now I thought like Bellator would add more divisions this year, but doesn't look like they will. So I'm assuming they'll probably put in a couple more, because they only have two, I believe, featherweight and flyweight. So I believe they'll throw in some more next year, which would be
probably
cool. So when you do train, you're talking about being well-rounded. Do you spend time, when you have an opponent, do you spend time watching film?
Yeah, I do. I watch a lot of film. Nothing like really in particular. I just, you know, kind of look up fights that I, you know, and just watch them and stuff. And then opponent-wise, you know, of course, if they have fights online or whatever, of course, you know, I'll watch them or whatever. But usually somebody tells me like what their background is, like if they're a striker or if they're, you know, a ground person or a wrestler, and I'll just, you know, focus on that. Right. But yeah, I definitely watch film.
Yeah, I think it's that's kind of a mixed response, to be honest. You know, a lot of fighters do, and I understand that the whole, you know, your opponent could change at any moment, whether it be injury or personal issue or, you know, whatever. But I would kind of lean. I think watching film could be pretty beneficial.
Yeah. But luckily, knock on wood, none of my opponents have ever backed out of a fight with me. Luckily. Because if I cut weight and I'm about to step on that scale and someone backs out, I'm fighting somebody.
You're fighting right then and there. Heck yeah. No, I hear you. Now, how is the weight cut for you? I mean, do you have a pretty consistent process, or have you had to evolve it? Getting there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting easier now that I'm muscling up, because I'm a naturally thick person, you know, thick female. I'm very strong. I've always been very strong, but just naturally a thick female. And so it's taken a lot of dieting and a lot of hard work to get to where I am now. But now my weight cuts are a lot easier now that I'm more muscled up, and, you know, yeah, they're a lot easier. They're getting easier and easier each time.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. So that's why I think, you know, too, being 21, and I think you should try experimenting, you know, see how that straw weight cut is for you, and if it 100%. Works, you know, do. But I think it'd be great if you could not at the drop of a hat, but essentially be able to float, around weight classes. That's another thing that
females don't do.
Right.
Yeah.
That
I would love to be able to too.
That would make you incredibly dangerous, I think. If you could figure out a way to make that work. So I don't know if that's something you'd consider to do, but I think if your body can handle it, why not, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so when you go into your camps, when does the weight part start? I mean, is that something? Do you try and lose as much as you can before the cut?
Well, right now right now I'm dieting because I've gained a lot of muscle since my last fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been dieting hardcore. I'm on the keto diet, so I'm trying to get to where I'm walking around at a lighter weight, and then that way, whenever I decide to start really cutting, it won't be as dramatic. I still have 9 weeks, so I'm trying to get down to like a certain weight by like 4 weeks out, and then after that I'll probably just keep dieting and eating good, and then you have to start the water loading and the no sodium and the and I usually do that when I'm about a week and a half out. I'll start a water load a week and a half out, and then I'll stop water loading and stop the sodium a few days before my weigh-ins.
Okay.
And I'll drop a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Just depends on the weight class. I mean, if I don't have to do that, I won't do it. But most of the time, I got to do it.
Right. What division will this fight be in December?
125.
125. I think you said that before. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think so. I look at the 125 and the 105. I think are the two most exciting divisions to watch. The 125ers, they have the power of the heavier weight classes, but with that speed. It's kind of like makes them more dangerous. Exactly, makes them. The fights are. I mean, a lot of those fights are just pure bangers. So, I mean that's
why I want to be in 115 because I feel like I'd be a strong 115er.
Yep.
Because most of them are just like they're just really really fast, and I mean they're strong too. Don't get me wrong, but they're just smaller girls,
right?
I just feel like I'd be a bigger 115er.
No, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing at all. I mean, if you can go in there, see the 115 division in the women's MMA is the Shark Tank. I mean that is where, most known fighters, they're in that division. Yeah. It's like, well, let's talk about bantamweights. Okay, Amanda Nunes. Well, can you name 5 more? And they can't, but people can rattle off strawweights all day long.
Yeah.
There's so many of them, and the talent is way up there too. But yeah, that'd be great. It's kind of like, a perfect example of what you were talking about would be Michelle Watterson, right?
Yeah.
She was an atomweight her whole career, and of course she gets an opportunity to go to the UFC, and would have been dumb not to take it, but they don't have an atomweight division,
right?
So she's had to go up.
Yeah.
I think they finally found that, where she can be
happy
successful
medium
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you'd be killer there. So definitely give it a shot because it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
Right.
The competition is I mean, you'd get fights left and right.
100%.
Because there's so 100%. Many.
As long as girls will take it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, as long as they'll take it. So, do you have any pets or anything like that?
I have a dog, Callie. She's a pit bull. I actually don't. She's not here right now, but and then I have an American bulldog. Yeah. Yeah. He's white. Yeah.
We have this fluffy little Bichon poodle thing that is ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, my dogs are really good, actually. They like to run off if I let them out front or whenever they bust out the front door and run off.
Right.
Little crackheads.
So, you don't have a lot of free time, but what do you do to unwind? I mean, how do you keep yourself from losing your mind? Go to the gym.
I wish I could tell you that I did something different, but I do have a really good friend, or a best friend, Bree Henson. She actually just got diagnosed again with leukemia. So I hang out with her all the time whenever I'm not training. You know, I'll just go and hang out and sit with her and stay with her a lot. But other than that, I just come home and I sleep when I can, eat when I'm allowed to, and then train every day.
Yeah, well, you got to, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this, is to get a look into the fighter's life, you know?
Right.
See what it's all about and what it takes and why it's so frustrating. Like if you got a match or a fight that ends up on the ground and it's a rock solid grappling match and people start booing, that's really frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
no,
like,
I try not to be that person.
yeah, it's like,
I try to do the stand and bang thing, but you know,
yeah,
I
mean,
understand fighters have to do what they got to do to win.
right? Yeah, you know, but the casual fan, they don't really understand what they're looking at sometimes. So, now are you a risk taker or a thrill seeker?
I like to think that I am.
Yeah.
I'm a very pressured fighter. I'm a very aggressive fighter. I don't like to give a lot of space. I'm very I just like to push. I like to push the pace, and I like to break people.
Yeah.
You know, I just like breaking people.
Yeah, no, I think that's the right mindset. I think, you know, you can control your conditioning in a fight, and you at least have the option to control the pace. And I think if you can do those two things, you already you have a huge advantage. I mean,
right.
It's beyond matchup, right? I mean, we're talking the matchup is the matchup, and that's all on paper. You know, that's all logistics. Right. But you got conditioning.
Definitely, and mental.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of it's mental.
Absolutely. And, you know, you definitely really, really have a really strong understanding. So, you know, I call that like a high fighter's IQ, and I can tell that you definitely have one of those. So let me ask you this. Yeah. I think that's what sets apart the good and the great, you know, and it's also an awareness of, you know, where you are in the cage, you know, where your opponent is. It's like Ilima McFarlane, right? The Bellator flyweight champ.
Yep.
She owns the middle of the cage. You know what I mean? And will lure opponents in, and then she will throw them, and then all of a sudden they're against the cage. You know, so fighters who can own the middle of the cage, I think that's a big thing judges look at. You know, just
being dominant.
Exactly, just being dominant. So let me ask you this: what are some of your bucket list items?
Well, you know, I plan on turning pro, maybe, hopefully in the next couple of years, but or in the next year and a half. But I'm not a big title person. Like, everybody's like, so how many titles have you had? How many? You know, and you know, I mean, I want to win. I want to go to the Golden Gloves boxing. I really want to win the Golden Gloves. There's a couple of goals that Andrea had before that she accomplished before she turned pro, and I kind of want to do a few of those and win them. But I have no like actual goals in mind. I would love to go against somebody with a bunch of titles and then just beat the crap out of them and just be like, what do your titles mean? I don't,
exactly.
You know? So I really don't have a lot of goals. I want to get a bunch of fights under my belt. You know, I want to get 50 boxing matches, 50 kickboxing matches, 50 everything. You know, as many MMA fights I can get before I, you know, turn pro. I don't know if I can get 50 of them, but
right.
You know, but I mean, at some point nobody's going to fight me as an amateur. So, but you know, I'm just trying to get a bunch of fights under my belt. I don't care who it is. I take fights as they come. I don't turn down opponents.
Yeah,
so unless my coaches say otherwise. If my coaches say no, then no, it is. But I don't turn down fights.
No, I think that's the way to be. And you know, your coach will know. You know, I think that's important, and that's a really good point. I'm glad you said that, because, you know, if I feel that if you trust your team, right, your coaches and everything, and they say, hey, take this fight, okay, we're going to take the fight. But at the same time, if they say, let's not do this one, I think, you know, take it for what it is, right?
Right, yeah.
I think trusting your team is very, very important.
It is very important. And I have the best team around, if you ask me. I train with the Faglers. Kempo Karate.
Okay.
And they're amazing. The team, the environment, the coaching, the head coach Jason Fagler, he's awesome. They're they're very well-rounded fighters. They're just, and they're awesome people too. So that makes it even easier to be there,
Yeah, that's so cool, and I love hearing you talk about them too. You can tell. I mean, you guys got something good there. So
yeah, definitely.
I think that's huge. It is vital for your career.
It is
to be in that position. So that's really good, and I think
couldn't be more blessed with them. They're awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece of the puzzle. So you are definitely laying out a successful foundation. So that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
That is huge.
And I have an awesome support group too, so it makes it a lot easier too.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I did want to ask you two more. What advice would you give to a younger female who's like, you know what, I think I want to pursue this, a career in MMA?
Don't stop. Keep going, because it's gonna get hard.
Yep.
Times are gonna get hard. And times are going to be almost where you want to give up. Don't stop. Okay. Just keep going.
Yeah. And one more for you. What are your keys to success? What keeps you motivated, and what keeps you moving forward and achieving what you're setting out to achieve?
Oh, gosh. My family, for one, my little sister and my mom, more than anything, they're my motivation. But for myself, I've not always been this dedicated and this motivated and this, consistent with something. I've never been like this before. I've had a rough patch in the past, and, I've realized I don't want to be that person anymore, and I want to be the best person I can be. And overall, that's my motivation, to be the best person I can be and to live the life that God chose for me. And I feel like this is the life that God chose for me. So
that's perfect. I mean,
Thanks.
It's kind of like you're following a path, and I think for the most part everybody's meant for something, but are you willing to answer the call, when it comes? And I think I know you definitely have. So, but it's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. It's been awesome talking to you too. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely love to do it again if you're down.
Oh yeah, anytime. Just message me. I know I'm always training. Like, I was rushing to get back home to be able to do it today. I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna be late.
Don't ever. You never got to rush for me. Trust me. But I really, your time, because time is the only thing you can't really get back. The fact that you took some from me means a lot to me, and I truly appreciate it. And really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you for your following and always tweeting me and stuff like that. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, one more. You have a calendar, right, coming out in December?
I do. Okay. Yes, I do. I have a calendar coming out. We're still working on the photos and stuff, but it's going to be a great calendar.
Okay. Yeah, let me know around the time, and I'll get the link out.
Okay. Yeah. So we're still trying to figure that out. Okay. But I'll let you know as soon as we figure it out.
Perfect. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day. And
you as well.
Do what you do and kick butt, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. All right. Awesome. Have a great one. Bye.
All right. That was Cade Dement. She fights December 2nd. If you haven't seen her fight, you're missing out. And Conflict is on Flow Combat. Really great subscription to get. We'll be back later today around 5:30ish with Brittany Neiman. And until then, everybody have a great day, and we'll talk soon.